Well, let's look at communication services. First off, read this disclaimer carefully. Communication services can be found under, of course, communications sectors. Specifically, we will look at VOX, the Telecommunication Services ETF. Distance from 52-week low and high. Additionally, we will look at some leveraged products as well. We will look at TAWK, which is the bullish one. That one is up very, very big. And we will look at the bearish one, which also interestingly is up. The mute. Okay, let's start here with the seasonality. Of course, remember, like, subscribe, share, and comment for interesting results. And the seasonality is a bit of a mess. There's something about August for sure. August is a bit nested, as you can see, so you have two strong months next to it, hence you should be a bit careful how much you read into August. But these are multiple years. There is something about August that's not bullish for VOX. So let's look at it against the S&P 500. Do some comparison. Here again, looking at relative strength, the VOX does tend to underperform the S&P 500 in August. 56 is the number for sure. Quite a few months, there's a 56%. Okay, 56% of months in which it outperforms the S&P 500. Okay. So the ETFs in question is VOX. This one from Vanguard. This is the triple bullish one. This is the triple bearish one. Let's look here at the chart for VOX. This is all the history we have. Interestingly, it made a double top here back in 2016, 2017. From that, major pullback. Hence, this one showed weakness way before the virus situation. Then it made a very sharp V-shaped recovery. Okay. Then again, it does make a top. Yeah, we do have this double topping pattern potential. Well, it is a double top so far. There is some exhaustion here. You do have a bit of a spinning candle here. Nothing like dramatic, but you see here that the bears were way down here, and there's something happening. So interesting. Could be some bearish opportunities. It is pretty clear though that it's in this region here, that's when the bulls have problems. Problem here and problem here. So maybe this is a bit too much too fast as well. There's a bearish divergence on the RSI. Something that is bullish is that the accumulation distribution line is higher here than it was here. So there are buyers stepping in. The correlation with S&P 500 is 55%. Because the communication services space, it's one of those that's gone up a lot from the lows. When you think about it from the fund manager's perspective, they like to rotate from the ones that are overbought into those that are cheaper. Hence, it makes sense for them to rotate out of communication services to get into those laggards. So that's a potential development. Let's look at the VOX from the daily data points as well. You can see here that this is the resistance level. We are above many of, well, actually all the P moving averages. Some bearish divergence on the RSI here. The daily data points. 97% correlation with S&P 500. That's strong. So there's something here that could become bearish. It's not a screaming bearish play at this point, but it's a speculatively bearish one. Of course, it could break out as well. Let's now look at the correlations. Now we will put VOX here, like that, and then we will have TAWK. That's the bullish one, which was up a lot. If you look here at the daily data points, it's quite interesting to see that this one is actually very far away from these highs. already we are seeing some divergence between VOX and this this ETF leveraged. It is not the case that Direction is trying to mimic VOX. I am using VOX in this instance as an underlying, but it is not like the underlying. However, VOX has one of the strongest correlations with the TAWK, 91%. They do so. Yeah, it's a decent bullish way to play telecoms. You also have the mute, which is the one for the bears. And during a pullback, it moves up big. I mean, this rally here, as an example, was 130% within a very short time. The correlation here is minus 72% negative, which it is a negative correlation, but it does show us some quite significant divergence from VOX. Simply does. And you can as you saw with TAWK was actually very far away from this high back here. Hence, even though they do work, they work to only a certain extent. Here is some additional data about VOX. Options are available. That's another way to trade leveraged. It's shortable. Year to date, 5% gain. That's decent. If we look here at Saks.com, they do have a number to buy on VOX, medium risk. If we go here, the expense ratio, I mean, Vanguard, they are known for very low expense ratios, 0.10, that's almost free. You can see here that the PE is 18. Let's compare it to the ones that are high and low. So this one is lower. This is the Invesco S&P 500 CARP ETF. I have absolutely no idea what that even means. Then you have the Wisdom Tree Modern Tech Platforms. That one had an extreme PE of 143. Looking at the dividends. So the VOX has a 1% dividend. It's okay, but you are definitely not holding this one for the dividend. The hyper is the Direction High Growth ETF. And the high dividend one is this one, Global X Nasdaq 100 Covered Call ETF, which had 11% dividend. Yeah, that's juicy. But you know, these it was compared against ETFs that are in very different sectors, and some of them were, I mean, not really. And none of these were actually like sector ETFs as such. So yeah, there are some issues with how you get these comparisons. Okay, let's look at the holdings. Facebook. Oh, interesting. I would totally agree. Facebook is a communication services stock. Netflix, Comcast, Walt Disney, Activision Blizzard. Now we are starting to stretch it by a lot, I would say. I don't agree that Activision Blizzard is a communication services stock. Walt Disney, that's also kind of stretching it, but under some definitions, yeah, you could argue communication services. Let's look at the breakdown. Market cap, definitively a bunch of large caps, totally dominated by USA. Yeah, and of course when it comes to these leveraged products, they are not supposed to be held for more than 1 day. You can hold them for longer, but you know, that's if you are doing that, then you want to watch them carefully. We did see that the TAWK had performed very well from the low, and also when we looked at the period where the mute had a big rally, when you know the VOX went down, it did spike. But they are more sophisticated than people think, in the sense that you need to watch them a bit more actively. Okay, let's look at some companies. Micron, some S&P 500 companies. So here, basically, after this major spike here, Micron is basically going sideways. There are some cyclical patterns here. Seems to be a bit of a rising cycle at the moment that is losing steam. Yeah, but Micron is basically moving in this massive consolidation box. There are option strategies, like premium strategies, that are beneficial for those kinds of patterns. We do see that there is a bit of a squeezing effect as well. You could draw a declining trend line here and the rising trend line. So there could be some breakouts play as well. Okay, even though I'm not a huge fan of diagonal trend lines because you can draw them in so many different ways. Let's look at Oracle. I think, yeah, Oracle. One of the very much old timers in the tech space. From a bullish perspective, I mean, ever since actually the bottom here of the dot-com bubble, this one has been in a very clear and consistent uptrend, rising from here this red 200-week moving average. So this is just strong, clearly moves in cycles, but you know, the bulls are definitively in charge here. Even though this pullback here was very sudden and deep. But still, massive recovery and close to new all-time highs. Yeah, strong. And accumulation distribution is also bullish. HP. Hewlett Packard. Okay. Major cycle patterns. Let's look at how consistent these cycles are. Let's do it like this. I mean, there are some relatively clear cycle patterns here. I'm now drawing them a bit quickly as well. Rise, decline, rise, decline. Yeah, there's some cyclicality, so maybe there could be... so we are currently in a bit of a declining cycle, but we have seen that there's a very obvious pattern. This rally here was 204%. This rally right here was almost 200% again. This is a swing trader's dream. Given that the declining cycle is getting a bit extended, I would want to put this on the radar for a new rising cycle. Interesting. Let's look at FPX, Freeport Mac... No, what? FCX, is it FCX? Yes. Freeport McMoran, copper and gold. We have recently pulled back to levels that are way back here in the 2000s. We also have a double bottom here, rallied from that one, closing now above the red 200-week moving average, which is a resistance level. This looks interesting. Very interesting, actually. Freeport McMoran is definitively a speculative stock. It moves very big. You need a strong stomach. But when it moves, it offers no tremendous opportunities. Like this here, this looks measly. This doesn't look like impressive at all. It looks boring, but let's do the percentages. Boom, like 432%. And in the options market, that could be huge. Yeah, looks very interesting. Okay, whatever you do, of course, don't fight the trend, and may the trend be with you.